welcome. Thanks for joining us. You can leave comments and we will be able to see them live. So ask your questions. I would like to introduce to you two of my favorite people. One is Janellen. You know what? I realized today I've never asked you how you properly say your long last name.
I know my very long last name, Janellen Steininger.
Steininger. There's a lot of extra syllables that I know I never say. I think I call you like Steiger and Steininger.
Yeah, and now that I'm married, my name is Janellen Steininger Stubblefield. So how about that?
That's I'm gonna cry.
A mouthful.
But Janellen plays our lovely Corinna, and Patrick Gorman, who plays Zabov, our Henri piano teacher. And they have the most adorable relationship in this movie of just hate and love. And it's, I love it so much.
Zabov is not too lovable.
If you're here with us, please leave a comment, say hello so we know you're here. We know who's watching. And again, ask us your questions along the way. So I would love to, I cannot believe as we started this, the lawn people next door have their gardeners starting literally as we started. Right. So in typical trying to film at home fashion, cue the lawnmower, cue the guy with the saw, cue the airplane. So if I'm yelling, it's only because I can't hear myself. And I apologize to those of you who might sound loud too out in the internet's world. So y'all talk to us about, I don't know, do you have like a favorite memory or just a memory in general? Maybe it was a scary memory of something that happened for you on Playing with Beethoven?
Patrick? No?
Well, yeah. Janellen, I remember we made you sing live.
I was going to say, I have
your favorite thing.
Yeah, I have, and that memory actually is a favorite memory. And that goes back to the audition process, because originally my character was written to be a classical and jazz pianist, and we had very little time, I remember, to prepare. So you had a lot of faith with me, Jen. You said, oh, you can learn this, you can pick it up. And I thought, I'm just not going to be able to do it convincingly. But I said in that final callback, I said, but I do sing. And everyone's eyes kind of went, oh, sing. Oh, okay. So on the spot, you turned the character into a singer, which
if you give me an opportunity to turn my music film into a musical, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And then of course I always go to Chris Edgar with some new hey Chris.
Yeah.
That's right.
He was so on board with that. So yeah, that was a real thrill for me, and to sing in character. And I believe it was the final 2 days of the shoot.
It's definitely at the end.
Yeah.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with as much with the movie, we did everything live. All the music was live. So she wasn't doing playback and lip singing. She had to sing the song for an audience.
That's really scary. That's really scary. Well, it goes back to live theater that you're used to.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And both Patrick and I come from that. So I guess maybe that was probably, helped. But yeah, it was definitely a favorite memory from the audition, because that so rarely happens, that people are open to a change on the spot. And then it kind of informed the whole character. So that was lovely. That's my favorite memory.
I actually love that you say that, because I think that's so important as filmmakers, as creatives, in a collaborative field, to be open. You don't always have to say yes.
Right.
Right. Let me think about that. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, then we get rid of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory?
Well, I it's strange. I love the audition. I had so much fun at the audition. I said, I can't lose. But also because actually I love to play bad guys. And my career has been, I thought I was meant to, Iago is the archetypical character for me, I thought. I never got to play him. Mm-hmm. And usually in film and television, when you walk in the door, unless you look like Iago or the bad guy, you don't even get a chance. And that's kind of been it. And I thought, well, Zabov's perfect for me.
What's funny? You came in, I remember you, because you wore this black turtleneck to the audition. And we saw a few people for Zabov. But I remember our lead, who played Charlotte, she was an actual pianist. Like she grew up her whole life playing piano with piano teachers. And I remember when she just saw you in the lobby, and she walked in, she goes, "Oh my gosh, Zabov is out there." Before you even walked in and read.
That's great. I love that. Well, because I have known people like Zabov, having had a career in theater and musical theater as well. I mean, like I've done over 15,000 stage performances.
Wow.
I mean, not 1,500, 15,000. So I've known people like Zabov, and especially in my youth. But yeah, what got me was that everything was live. But I wasn't thinking about me because I'm an actor. I'm not singing or dancing or playing the piano, even though he is supposed to be a pianist. And I thought, everybody's doing this without essentially, well, you could do extra takes, but you're not going to go into, that amazed me.
Yeah, when you're editing, you kind of have to pick the one best take for the most part. And play that as the main thing where you see fingers for sure.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, the music is great and the lines are wrong. The music is great. The lighting is wrong. The lighting is great. The music is wrong.
I edited this piece. It was exactly that. Like there was a lot of tears when I was editing.
Oh, no,
but you know what? In the end, like for us having the no budget we had and sort of bootstrapping it, I think we have a beautiful little movie. Does it look like we had $10 million? No, but hopefully someone who has $10 million will give it to us so we can all go make another one.
Yes, that sounds like.
I remember Patrick so hard. So in the film, when we cast our lead to play Charlotte, our actual actress was from Bosnia. So she had a very kind of thick accent in some ways. So we needed to cast at least a family member who could do the accent. And I remember I went to you, Janelle, and was like, "Can you mimic this?" And so you took that on. Yeah. But I remember Patrick was so like, you tried so hard to convince me to let you do an accent. You wanted to do one too. And I was like, "There's too many accents. I can't do it." But do you remember that? You're like, "Come on." And you would send me all these like voicemails doing accents and stuff.
Yeah, well, my whole career I've done, I'm a character player. I've done Russians, Germans, Spanish, you name it, French, Italian, Juliet.
But your accent was so good. It was so hard to say no to, but I was like, I can't have everybody with an accent. It was just too much.
Your normal voice, Patrick, and the way you speak. I remember when I met you, Patrick, at the I think again the final audition. I said to myself, "Who's this very handsome, distinguished, but kindly gentleman?" And then when I saw you play Zabov, I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess he can be pretty mean too."
Well, thank you. That's great. That's the way it should be.
It was
fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to we're losing Janellen's internet. It's crashing.
Are you?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no, I'm here.
I don't know. You're doing the jittery thing, but you're back.
Okay.
So for those of you watching, we're gonna have a special treat for you, which is actually kind of maybe a treat for my two stars here because they have seen none of the movie.
No.
We are gonna share a sneak peek scene.
Viktor Zabov, nothing has changed. You're still an ass.
That's crass, Corinna.
If you don't let your musicians live a little, how are they going to bring any life into their music?
He's a good teacher, Corinna. He's just
I can handle my own battles, Josh.
Oh, yes, that's something he has always been able to handle. His battles.
Let me take you home. I have a car waiting.
Why? So you can lock me in a room like you do your musicians, not letting them live their lives?
I do that for their own good. Joshua wouldn't have gotten this far if it wasn't for strict discipline. And now he's playing for one of the greatest competitions in the world.
Oh, posh. It doesn't matter who you are playing for or what you are playing. A musician has to connect with his audience. I don't care if you play every single note perfectly. If you don't have anything to say, don't waste my time.
You guys are so adorable. I love it. But just there's this constant, like the whole movie, like this constant this, but you could tell there's like fire underneath from a past.
Yeah.
That's
That was it was. We were like this, but we never got to this.
We got you
I
close.
think there was one moment that you may have had to cut where we touched hands at the sink in the kitchen scene.
I won't get any spoilers, but I'll just say I have fought very hard to cut none of your guys' storyline.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah.
As actors in general, when you come and you prepare for a role, are there certain things that you do each time? Is it based on the film? Where does all that come from for you guys?
Well, I think again we're both from the theater, and so a lot of preparation. I know it does with Patrick too. A lot of preparation goes into the work. In this case, your story, your screenplay for my character anyway, had a lot of information, so it was great. There's a lot that I could build on, knowing her relationship to Charlotte and to the rest of the family. But I started with that. I started like building the family in my mind and my relationship over the years to Charlotte. And then the technical stuff, the preparation, as you said, was we got together and had lunch a couple of times so that I could start emulating this Bosnian accent, which at first I thought was going to be Russian, then turned into Bosnian, which was really exciting. A lot of fun.
And that shows you my naivety to the world.
I kind of
was it like, I'm like it's
no, I mean it.
And then you're like, no, she's Bosnian. I'm like, oh, I knew that.
What's the difference? There is, of course.
It was, it was very distinct.
So I got a more of a chance to develop a relationship with her. But then the fun thing was, again, you come to the set then with your own background, and some of these scenes, especially the larger scenes at the end, I could bring all that, and all of a sudden these people whom I had imagined, who I'd read about in the screenplay but hadn't met yet, were all together, and that was really exciting to finally be able to bring that to the other with the other characters, the other actors.
Yeah. Patrick, what about you? I mean, you've been doing this so long, and I have a secret. Some of you may not know this yet, so I'm going to tell you, even though it's out, so I'm allowed to. You may not know that Patrick was actually our older Captain America in that last Avengers movie. So now we can officially call him Captain America.
Right.
Yes.
Good
Avengers
for you.
Endgame. My favorite story about that, just to throw in there, is that I didn't tell a lot of people because originally I was hired to play him as an old man, and I thought I was going to play him. It was just going to be me.
Yeah.
And then they had when I got on the set, they said, well, we're going to blend it. You're both going to play the scene, same hand gestures, same dialogue, but then we're going to blend you technically, image-wise. So there's an echo in in the speech, and of course skin tone, old guys, and all that. But the interesting thing was I didn't tell a lot of people, and I got a call from two separate friends who didn't know each other, and both of them said, I just saw Avengers Endgame, and the funniest thing is that last scene, I kept thinking of you.
Oh, I love it so much.
That's the truth. I mean, that's the absolute. And these people didn't know each other, so that's neat. It's one of those bits of trivia that's fun.
I love it.
No, but in terms of preparation, it's funny. You, as Janellen said, you do a lot of preparation. I think most actors do, but sometimes there's a role that you get and you read it and you say, I know this guy.
Mm.
And it was the same with Zabov. I knew him. I didn't really need to do preparation. Of course, you think about it and you do the natural things, but it's being that person. And Zabov was one of those people I knew. I just knew him. So I mean,
well, that's a good thing, because I remember we weren't going to film, and we were trying to get things together, and then all of a sudden it was like, it's go time, and like crap, we never actually called Patrick and said, hey, we want you. So you had like what, maybe a week, 2 weeks
Yeah.
to like get
Wow.
ready.
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing.
Well, it was a great. What gets me is what I always tell young film people that I meet or want to go in. It's impossible to make a movie, and this is an example of the impossibility. I mean, of course, it's not impossible; it's done, but it is like impossible. All these little problems that they're not little problems; they're huge problems. And I often said I think when I go, I'll come back as an editor. And then after thinking of this situation, I thought, well, maybe not. I'll try get it better as an actor when I come back.
You're absolutely right about that. And because also when you're shooting an independent film on a smaller budget, there is no wiggle room. I mean, you can't just say, oh, a problem came up, we're going to wait a week and then continue. You've got, a very tight shooting schedule, very tight packed. That's another thing that amazed me, extremely packed shooting days. And your list of stuff to get done in the day was a long one. And we did, everyone was so focused.
There again, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that the sad thing happened, though, is that like it takes so long to get your project made, whether it's funding or just deciding you're going to do it with no money. And then you have to take all this time to get the things you need. And then, you make the film over however many days, 5, 12, 20, whatever you've got, whatever you decide. Mm-hmm. And then it takes you a year to do post because you're asking for favors or you're paying low rates and they're squeezing you in and all that stuff. And then you finally get it done, which in our case was last year. We're like, well, let's submit to all the festivals that we want to target. And so you submit to all those, and we did that in 2019, but then you have to wait till 2020 to get your answers. So now it's a third year of waiting for the film. And then in our case, the apocalypse happens. And now all of the festivals have canceled or pushed to next year. So now we're going to be going straight to video. It's just insane. Like, I think that's why I think one of the biggest learning lessons I took from this, which goes back to what you're saying, Janelle, about being indie film and all the challenges and all that stuff, is that it's never going to be perfect. Don't be precious about it. Like, make your movie, put it out, make another movie, because it's just, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you have to do that, of course. But at the same time, when you think about, you can't just like throw a movie together. I mean, if you say that, it suggests something else, because it's detail. It's got to be good. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. It can't be just be, well, let's just throw a movie together, and it doesn't happen that way. So,
but at the same time, like I'm saying,
it's so difficult. But that's to be a director.
But if you take all that time, though, and I know so many people who will work to take all this time to make it perfect and not do it, and it's got to be perfect. And my point is, like, it's never perfect. Even if you've made the most beautiful movie. No. Well, then the pandemic happens and no one sees it. What did it matter? It just,
yeah.
So as long as you're doing it, you're having a good time, and it's never gonna be perfect anyway. Even if you have, $20 million, I'm sure those directors are still like, oh, I hate that one scene's VFX or whatever. Like, there's always something,
I'm sure that's absolutely true. And the 500,000 to the $20 million films, I'm sure the director, the ones that I've worked with too, have always said, in the end, I got to get this movie out. It's time, as you said, not to be precious. I got to get this movie out. So,
but I think I love working with you guys, though, because I'm I love working with actors as it is, but I love actors who already bring something organic to the set, and you're just ready as is. I really don't even have to direct you, but if I give you something, you're open to whatever it is. You're willing to try it, and I think that makes you guys. That's why I don't know what the word is. You're just so revered in my brain as being top.
Thank you. Actor. Just a note, Sidney Pollack. I worked with him in it's the first A-list film I did was 3 Days of the Condor. And that's one of the things that he said to us we were talking about the film and with him and about films, and he said, "Look," and he was an actor himself, a wonderful actor.
Good actor.
And he said, "Look, if I cast the film right, I've got all these other problems to do. I have to cast the film right because then I can forget about that side of it. You know, I mean, of course, you don't forget about it,
Never
but
forget about it. Yeah. But you don't have to
I
worry
thought
about
that
it.
was amazing insight. That the casting is it doesn't solve everything, but it solves a great important part because you do see the actors up there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
For those of you
Thank
guys
you.
watching, we are going to be wrapping up in a moment. So if you have questions that have come up, please put them in the comment section so we can answer them for you. We've got another 4 minutes here. And in that 4 minutes, I really want to hear just sort of like what's going on with you guys now. I mean, a pandemic's kind of stopped things, but do you have anything in the pipeline?
I do. I've got a couple of things. I think I'm kind of fortunate because I do voiceover work, and that is continuing. The difference is that I'm doing most of it from home, so you can't really see it. I'm sort of in my little cocoon, my little home recording studio that I've had to build, and so I've been very, very fortunate. That's keeping me busy. 2 weeks after the lockdown was initiated, I was supposed to go out of town and do a play for 7 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, you know, that as so many of our actor friends happened, you know, that was canceled. I'm fortunate again because it looks like it's going to be done in March of 2021. So we'll see if that, you know, if that really happens. But yeah, it's the voiceover work. I actually did a voice for Avengers Endgame video game.
Nice.
Great.
There's no Avengers in
Oh,
our
great. We have
cast.
a mutual credit.
We've got that thing going. It's been a very, very strange time, and it breaks my heart. The productions that had to stop, the stage productions that had to stop, the films that had to stop halfway. It's just, I don't know how we're ever going to really grasp that, except for artists are still making art, so it'll happen. You know, it'll happen in a different way, but it'll happen.
Yeah. Well, I years ago I used to do a lot of voiceover, and then when it went into the doing everything at home, I built a sound studio and everything, and I could not handle the technology. It used to drive me crazy, so I let that go. Big mistake, of course. Now with the pandemic, I have a little film that I wrote, eight page film, and we actually got the money to do it, and we're going to try and do it in September off in the mountains in Montana, and we'll see if it works or not. But we'll do that. But what I've been doing is on my walk site.
Directing it.
I'm directing and playing. I wrote it for 3 characters, and it's called Jack and the Boys. It's his 2 sons, 3 guys, and it's good. I hope that we get that done. Aside from that, on my walks every day, I go through all my old monologues from Hamlet's advice to the players and the Gettysburg Address and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, you keep yourself in the memory going. But that's about it. I mean, nothing yet. Well, it's be interesting to see how they start putting things together. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's always.
I'm very sad that I'm not going to get to have my red carpet hugs with you guys. Patrick and I have been on so many red carpets for films that we didn't do together. And we finally had one.
Yes,
I'm sad. I'm bummed that you guys don't get to see this film how it's meant to be seen, which is in a theater with 5.1 surround sound. But on the good news, you'll be able to share it with all your friends and family, hopefully in September, but we'll have a date soon. And hopefully you're proud. I'm proud of you guys.
Well, we'll dress up. Patrick
yes.
down and we'll watch it. Oh.
I love it. I love it.